Greetings all and welcome to Daily Pali Reading. Today we're continuing with the theme of Nibbāna or Nirvana, this time from the Dhammapada. Just a quick note on the Dhammapada, one of the more famous Buddhist writings of the Pali Canon. Dhammapada can be understood to mean pada to the Dharma, that is, steps to the Dharma, or pada in its meaning foot, as in poetic foot, can mean dharmic verses or verses on the Dharma. So here we're starting with the second chapter, the Appamada Vago. This chapter deals with vigilance. And we're going to jump right in here with verse 23. Te jayino satatika nichang dalha palakama pusanti dira nibbānang yogat kemang anutarang. Those wise ones, always energetic, persevering meditators, touch Nibbāna, the incomparable rest from toil. So this is our first reading of something in verse. And you'll notice that in verse, because there are metrical constraints based upon long and short syllables, the word order is often much different than we might find in prose. And of course, Pali being a highly inflected language, word order is very flexible, unlike in English where we understand the syntactic function of a word by where it appears in the sentence. So to begin, let's look at this in terms of like a subject, verb, and object. I should also say this verse starts with te, the demonstrative personal pronoun. It's a third person plural, masculine. So they or those, modifying dira later on. Those, and it's here because it's actually referring back. This chapter of the Dhammapada deals with vigilance and those wise ones who are practicing vigilance. This is referring back those wise ones, already previously mentioned. And so we can go on here. We can jump down into the second line, dira. Dira means constant, firm, or wise. So the wise ones, here it's nominative plural, pusanti, touch, or make contact with. This is third person plural, present active indicative. And then it takes an object, Nibbānang. Now Nibbānang is nirvana. And we might talk about that word a little later. I'm going to leave that to the side. It's an interesting topic in itself, but for now, we're just going to understand it as nirvana. So those wise ones touch nirvana. Nirvana is actually described more in detail. Yogat kemang anutarang. Anutarang is something like nothing higher, the incomparable, the unsurpassed, excellent. You get the picture. Now that is describing yogat kemang, which is itself this tapurisa compound of yoga and kemang. Kemang means rest, or full of peace, tranquil, calm. And then here we have the word yoga. And here the meaning is yoke, or a yoking to, or something. From that, we get the idea of union. And so the practice of yoga is seeking out union with the divine or the transcendent. Here, this is more of a literal sense. You have to understand yoke in terms of an animal being yoked to another for the purposes of getting work out of them. So the entire compound means something like rest from work. Now, I have read a translation of the Dhammapada where this is described as the incomparable bliss of yoga, of union. I think that's straining this a little. It's not impossible. And I will let you, dear listener, ponder whether you think that is a better reading or not. Now, we've left off almost the entire first line. So dira is the subject. But it's really being described by Jayino Satatika Nichang Dalha Parakama. Jayino is the masculine plural of Jayan, meditative, self-concentrated, actually someone engaged in jhana practice, in the meditative absorptions. So these wise ones are described as being meditators. They are satatika, they are persevering. So persevering meditators. Nichang is an interesting word because we often find anichang, something like rupang anichang. The body is impermanent. Here it's a neuter and it's functioning adverbially. This is true in Latin and Greek too. Actually, it could be the accusative case of the neuter as well, functioning adverbially. So here it means not so much permanently, but always. And they are always dalha parakama. They are always of strong effort, energetic. And I really like this verse for a number of reasons. One is I love this description of nirvana as being this complete, tranquil, calm state. And I also like the fact that the way to get there is through perseverance and our own effort and energy. It's actually not up to some other divine entity. It's not up to any entity beyond ourselves. If we want to make contact, if we want to touch nirvana, then all we need to do, all in air quotes, all we need to do is make up our minds and make that our goal and set about achieving it. That's where we're going to leave everything today. Peace, everyone.